Hello and welcome to my summary of Live Letter Part 90. Basically, we had 3.5 hours of talking about various features in 7.4 with in-game demonstrations, so I'll do my best to summarize this as much as I can without obviously losing that detail. The Live Letter opened with the trailer for patch 7.4, which you can find a link to on screen. It featured information on this Arcadian, the main storyline, the dungeon and trial content, as well as the new PvP map, along with a pretty great soundtrack, as usual, that you would expect from Soken-san. Definitely worth a watch, and the links are displayed there. Yoshi and Foxclon mentioned that this is a long live letter, and they were not wrong about this, with thanks to the unofficial Final Fantasy XIV Discord translation for the translations used in this video. A link to that Discord will be in the description of the video. Many thanks to them. As we know, patch 7.4 releases on the 16th of December, with a reminder then of the normal mode launching with that patch on the 16th, and this comes with new tomestones and craftable battle gear. Then on the 6th of January 2026, the Savage mode will open up for the heavyweight Arcadian. A recap of what's in this patch then: there is a new main scenario questline, the new dungeon Mistwake as part of that storyline, the new trial Hell on Rails with Dawntrail, both normal and extreme difficulty as part of that storyline, and Yoshi P says, "We did make a train fight before, but we managed to make it entertaining in a different way." In terms of the extreme version of a fight, Yoshida-san says, "Depending on the phase, it feels very different. It's going to be a bit of a memory game. Where did something disappear? Where did it place a new container? Well, yes. I think once you get it down, it will feel smooth," end quote. You get 2 totems also confirmed for this fight upon clear. Also, obviously, we have the Arcadian heavyweight tier of the 8-player fights, and this is the finale of those. We've got Tsukiyomi's Pain Unreal mode with new rewards from Faux Hollow's minigame. The new Frontline map, War Corps Shirte Triumph, is also added. The Gold Saucer update with the new Air Force One map, the Ciel Delays, has also been added, where you fly across that area above Hullbreaker Isle and fight against the Kraken. And of course, the massive new Glamour update with removed restrictions is also in this patch. The strategy board is also here to help learn boss fights with friends with full shareable strategies with others, and the command panel is also made into this patch that allows for quick access to a variety of things that you might want to quickly press, such as emotes, food buffs, etc., with toggleable visibility and many other options and macro support. For the Occult Crescent in 7.4 series, we get 3 new phantom jobs added. This includes the Gladiator, the Dancer, and the Mystic Knight. There are also new beneficial accessories coming to the Occult Crescent for further bolstering of those stats on your character. Duty support is also being added for Desmal Darkhold and Aurum Vale with NPCs, and 2 new color themes for your UI, clear green and clear white, will be added. On this slide, Yoshi P also mentions for 7.5, we're also going to be adding 2 difficulties for the new Forked Tower, end quote. So just a bit of extra information about the future. And a new Deep Dungeon update then. So this is a big one. If you are disconnected while soloing a Deep Dungeon, or if your entire party is disconnected during a group run, you can actually now resume progress as of 7.4 by logging back in within 10 minutes, provided nobody has been KO'd. It will, however, still count as a wipe if someone did get KO'd in that brief time your character remains online after a disconnection. This comes as people have given feedback that it's unfair with the DDoSers against various servers, basically losing out on attempts for soloing, etc. This should alleviate some of those concerns. Very nice quality of life change. Now for content beyond 7.4's 16th of December release, Cosmic Exploration and its new planet and systems is scheduled for 7.41. The new weapon upgrades for phantom weapons for combat roles are also in 7.41, and we get a preview of some of these here on this slide, which look really pretty. Actually, I'm looking forward to collecting those. In 7.45, the new variant mode dungeon, The Merchant's Tale, will be added, and Hildebrand is also scheduled for 7.45 with more hilarity in Solution 9 and that storyline. If you haven't done it, definitely catch up. And that's the main contents of 7.4. It's always going to be the case with Part 2 live letters that the majority of the rest of the stream was showing off in-game, and let's go into those details. Starting with the Arcadian heavyweight tier, Yoshi P zones in. It is a tag team match for the second fight for the heavyweight tier. There's a summer beach theme with the trailer, and on that trailer you can see many more of the mechanics of the fight, such as tidal waves and fire effects. The fight with one of the fighters is fire-themed, with plenty of AoEs to avoid, and then some way through it tags in the other party member that is water themed with those tidal waves and other mechanics. Looks pretty cool. The music is amazing, and as you probably imagined, we're going to do a bit kind of like a beach frat party. There's sort of punk rock music in the background for this, and they do also say here the HP bar is shared. So rewards then for this. Firstly, a picture of the Raid series tank set, which looks absolutely interesting. Definitely something different. The melee set then next. We've got some maiming. And we've also got some striking here, I believe. Ranged physical. We've got scouting. There's the healing set, which is quite rare for them not to have a robe, and casting as well. Yoshi P says, looks like we've made outfits for a shooting game, end quote. I have to agree here. It reminds me of old Phantasy Star Online type Glamour. Very interesting. And obviously you can cross Glamour these now with the restrictions removed in 7.4, so it's less about them being a maiming set or casting set and more of, those are the stats you need for those equips, but you can wear whatever you want. So that opens things up. Next, then, they mention a song created by award-winning artists will be featured in the Arcadian heavyweight tier. Rage Against the Machine's lead helped make a song for Arcadian with Everything Burns. That's Tom Morello. This is a collaboration Soken-san has wanted forever, as Rage Against the Machine is one of his favorite bands. Through connections via Jason Charles Miller, this collaboration was made possible apparently because they're board game buddies. So we can enjoy Everything Burns as the title of a track in-game during the heavyweight tier. And if, like me, you're wondering, can I use this on my streams on YouTube? Apparently, quote, had to get everything legal sorted since people are going to stream the content, etc. But he told us it's not about money and because the community is so great to just use it, end quote. So that's pretty lovely, isn't it? They're releasing a single version of this digitally, and I don't know if it's physical, on December the 17th if you wanted to pick that up. So on to the PvP update then, a bit of a lengthy one. PvP Series 10 obviously begins. They don't show any of the rewards. There are going to be PvP action adjustments as well. There will be the Wolf and Eagle gear in exchange for commendation crystals, which, as a reminder, will still require you to get at least crystal ranking in ranked PvP seasons to get at least one commendation crystal, or place highly to get more of those. So even though these replicas are of gear rewarded for ranked positions in Season 1 and 2 of the Feast, they do have a different color palette this time around. And interestingly enough, they still require you to do pretty high ranked stuff to get them. I thought they might have unlocked these for everyone, but unfortunately you will still need to do quite a lot of ranked PvP up to Crystal at least to get some of those crystals. So yeah, Yoshibi says, quote, we did want to keep it distinguishable from the gear that people grinded for back then, end quote. Apparently past gear will also be updated to feature double die channels. Make of that what you will. The new Frontline then, 72-player content as usual, where you fighting in 3 teams representing your 3 grand companies. They show the existing Frontline modes. They mention this new mode where you're on the offensive to reap the rewards rather than anything else. They say cut down your competition as you claim triumphs across the arena. Triumphs then are areas. They cannot be retaken by other teams and do not need to be defended. This is all about being on the offensive. The whims of the weather sweep across the battlefield, they say. They explain the scoring or tactical rating system. To increase your team's tactical rating and score, you defeat enemies or claim strategic locations. These appear around the arena. To claim a triumph, you stand inside the circles that are available on each of these shapes to raise your team's flag. Once all circles have a flag planted in them, the triumph is then claimed. He says here, there is no point having multiple people stand in these circles. The more corners the shape has, the more points it is worth. They emphasize you do not need to stay and defend in this game mode, and there is no way to retake them, so it is fast-paced, designed to keep pushing you on to fight more people. Showing us off then in the game, as you can see, once it changes color and fills with a grand company, it takes that point. If a player from a different alliance is also in the circle, you cannot claim this, so obviously you have to fight them. The triumphs can be different shapes, as they mentioned, with the points of a shape being capture points. Yoshi says, but it doesn't matter how many players stand in it. Multiple players from the same alliance in one circle will not make claiming it any faster. So it is pretty much balls against a wall, just go and have fun, which is quite interesting and refreshing. Aside from that, then, it's first to 1,400 points wins. They mentioned weather does actually have effects, though. Snowmen spawned here on this effect. The snowflake area they show gives a barrier buff to you if you stand in it. Yoshi says they happen closer to the circle, so they'll always be near your battles against the points that you're taking. Next is the Northern Lights effect weather. This gives you a buff that affects the rate of how many high point spots will spawn. These triumphs will spawn, so more of those will spawn, and also affects how quickly your LB gauge regenerates much quicker whilst the Northern Lights are active in the sky. So as you can see, weather effects will actually change things up a little bit as you go around capturing and destroying your enemies. On the PowerPoint, they explain how the capricious snow spirits spawn in snow weather, and they create frosty obstacles as well. So they can give you, obviously, the powerful barrier if you stand in the AoEs, but you can also use the snowmen as obstacles for line of sight blocking. The Northern Lights, or Aurora weather effects as they're called, increase the rate of limit gauge build-up, and also has a chance to increase the higher ranking triumphs with more points per one of those. So you can quickly reverse the score late game by making the most of the weather effects, increasing those point earnings across the board. And that's it for PvP. The Glamour update gets a mention then. This feature allows you to use any gear in your Glamour, basically irrespective of class, job, or level restrictions. They do mention how, due to animations, that's ultimately the reason why weapons and tools can only be equipped by the corresponding class. This is one of the only few limitations. In the game then, they show this. Yoshi appears in an inn room and shows his character window as a black mage. Going into the Glamour menu, as you can see, is exactly the same as you normally would to apply Glamours through subcommands, and just like that, his black mage is wearing the warrior top. It's as simple as that. Once again, changing the chest piece to that of a scholar. It's really just as simple as that, and it's just unlocked for use. And once more for Reaper here, and as you can see, whilst there are not any more glamour plates added in this patch, sadly, the freedom to make what you want is truly a massive rabbit hole to dive into. He's a botanist cutting grass as a Reaper. The interchangeability of these pieces now means that Yoshi P mentions this may promote people to level other jobs they probably wouldn't already or haven't, just to get the other gear unlocked for glamour, and he's very much right. Back to the PowerPoint, they do mention certain class job exclusive gear. Starting gear and fashion gear other than level 1 will now be treated as outfit glamours. Individual items that are part of an outfit glamour can now be converted to an outfit glamour without requiring a complete set. This will allow you to store more items in your glamour dresser as outfits, even if you don't have a full set, which is a welcome addition to that storage. There are still only 800 spaces, however, but as you can see, the outfit pieces can be stored when you don't have a full set. That should clear up a couple of spaces. Yoshi B says, quote, when you're storing glams, it will detect if there is already a piece stored that you can combine it with. And now the tooltip will show you which pieces are missing, which is a nice quality of life change. Yoshi B also says, I know you guys want more slots, more space, but since it's the end of the year, it's a good time to do a general clean out, you know? Get rid of things you don't need, he laughs, end quote. Of course, maybe in the future we'll get some updates to that. But for now, there are no additions to space, sadly. New crafted battle gear then, which looks pretty cool. And then we've got a Reaper. And yeah, the weapons and armor are apparently magical girl themed, heart themed. Some really cool designs here if you ever wanted more heart themed items. I especially love some of the dress robes on these. Actually, it's definitely worth picking up some of these with the restrictions gone on Glamour. Don't have to worry about things being, you know, scouting only or whatever. Does not mean anything. So this will probably, you know, increase the market massively for this stuff across the market board. And yeah, that was it for the first half. For the second half, it was all in-game footage. Firstly, we took a look at the Merchant's Tale being added in patch 7.45 as part of the new Variant Mode dungeon. A reminder then that Variant Mode has Variant Advanced and Criterion Mode as its 3 play difficulties. Variant is for your exploration and lore and usual experience. Advanced is a choice of bosses in any order, but only the bosses. And Yoshipi says you do not need to beat all 3 bosses in the advanced version to obtain the rewards, but beating all 3 unlocks an extra room. End quote. And Criterion then is a fixed boss rush in a specific order with the requirements on screen there for level and group composition, with the harder modes requiring more stringent rules. There are specific differences between these 3 modes then. Yoshipi says there are variant actions that you can use, for example, tank actions while you're playing solo, and that they actually go and show that in-game. The usual specific VNC duty finder menu is used to enter the new one, containing the usual 12 routes and a reward for clearing all 12, which is a mount. Your usual variant actions are here, with one addition they mention later. The painterly effect on the streets are bringing this storybook area to life. You'll also notice that the lighting in here almost makes your character look like they're also painted into the picture. The path splits up and Yoshipi has a text box appear to choose the direction they proceed, similar to the doors you would stand in on previous variant modes, but now with a text choice. If you take too long to decide, like Yoshipi does, the NPC chooses a direction for you. There are various elements inside with NPCs this time as part of the storybook storyline. It's a completely different variant mode. Here they are talking to an NPC and they've tasked them with carrying boxes to a destination, almost like you're doing quests inside. These characters give you hints about other routes and other things, potential other paths. As you progress to the end of a section, you see the storybook open and transport you to somewhere else within the storybook. For example, here we are in a coral-filled, vibrant coastal area. So depending on your choices, you may find yourself in different pages of the book fighting different monsters and different bosses in different areas, which is pretty cool. In this example, the area opens up to a large cave with bomblings. Yoshipi does mention here, does it matter if where I kill these? Further hinting, like with previous variant modes such as Mount Rokon, if you remember, where you could use enemies' flame ability, water abilities rather, and wind abilities to put out torches in to open a specific door, things like that. So there are obviously lots of secrets and different routes to work out, which is the exciting bit. They then show one of the bosses off then, which is a Jinn-style enemy or a genie. Lots of mechanics to learn and different choices change the abilities on the bosses as usual, much like with the other variant modes. Yoshipi actually wipes here to a chariot mechanic and then nearly dies to a cannon line AoE on the next one. The chariot's paths are actually shown on the lines. This time he does the mechanic, and there are lots of cool things to learn per boss, with the difficulties increasing obviously in the other modes. It's sure to be quite a fun little dungeon, and again, once again, dying to the chariots. They actually re-queue in and choose a different route, showing different paths and things like that. I do think that they probably showed a little bit too much of the area, but yes, there's also another boss they previewed, this giant griffin chimera thing, filled with exploding balls of mud and other AoEs to avoid. The boss disappears under the ground and pops up to do damage. NPCs appear and drop bombs on the area, and then rock slides happen because of those explosions to actually avoid. It looks like, once again, quite a little fun boss fight. They do say playing alone with friends, that's the fun part. And let's touch advanced variant mode, they say. So they queue into advanced mode, which the difference here is if you go to the main square, you have a choice on the text box without an NPC, and you choose between which of the 4 boss areas you go to first. They choose to fight a boss from a trailer with the Favnerian style carpets and the like. There's lots of very interesting mechanics here. Obviously the difficulty is pushed up much more above variant mode, and lots of stuff going on here. Quite simple mechanics overlaid, but obviously you'd need to see them to learn them. And, Yoshipi is alone here, and it's usually 2-player minimum content, so he does get inevitably defeated. Yoshipi says the mechanics are pretty much evolved from the normal mode. And now we go back to the PowerPoint. The only new variant action that was added then is Variant Eagle Eye Shot, which deals high damage to one enemy, rather. This is available to all roles, and basically something you can press on cooldown for maximum damage, in addition, obviously, to all the usual actions making a return. Variant Raise 2, however, revives one ally, will be only available in Criterion mode, which is the hardest mode. Each player can only use this action once per boss encounter they mentioned. This is to ensure the difficulty remains for that top difficulty mode. Now onto the command panel system. Once again, as a refresher, this is a new UI element inspired by player feedback that allows players to put anything they want that they can usually put on a hotbar onto one of these slots on a new command panel system. This comprises of 4 tabs with 25 slots in each. This is convenient for storing emotes, macros, food buffs, etc., things that you might want to occasionally use without giving them a permanent slot on your regular hotbar. The extra menu inside the action list shows the quick panel as an option, and this is where you find that function in 7.4. This can be dragged to your hotbar or macroed. Pressing this brings up the quick panel, and you can click the cog icon to change the transparency of the background of a panel, scaling, and many other options. For example, the top option is close window or action. The second one is open panel where your cursor is. Option 3 is open last panel used, and 4 is lock the panel, so they do exactly what they mention. Yoshi says that they've got advanced controller integration as well. Now I am on a controller, he says. You put it on your cross hotbar from the extras list in your action list, and from the subcommand list, like you would have it when you just set an action to your hotbar, it has the additional menu now to put it on the command panel. And from there, we can open the subcommands again and move it to the panel. The L and R buttons swap between the panels. Apparently, there is also an extra setting for controller, in this case on the Xbox controller, where you can press Y to speed up the cursor, and holding Y will allow you to navigate jump 2 spots around when you're trying to choose something. This is to try and make it quicker for users on a controller to use the feature quicker, but again, won't be anywhere near as fast as using a mouse to simply click the options, but they have tried to make it more user-friendly. Now we move on to the strategy board. To refresh, this is a feature that allows you to display a strategy diagram without needing to go outside of the game throughout a duty. Players can share and display the same strategy board within a party. To prepare a board, then, you can make it from scratch, you can make it from a preset, or receive it from a party member, and additionally that can be shared as a share code online on social media or whatnot, and shared worldwide. And you can simply post that code into your game to load up that strategy. Pretty easy. You can save up to 50 strategies total and create folders, each containing up to 10 strategies. For an in-game demonstration, then, Yoshi opens the board and displays some he saved earlier. This is located inside the party tab of the menu. For this, they start fresh. They show briefly from this where you would paste a code if you got one. However, making one, they have presets to start from they choose. This allows you to choose the arena type, the circles, squares, no arena borders, that type of thing, the texture on the background, squares and other features, and the 4 cardinal locations listed or not, as well as intercardinal numbers. Of course, any of this can be moved around or edited. All of these are preset options and designed to make it quick to make a strategy if you want to, but you can completely customize this anyway. They show role positions on the preset and many other preset options for the usual mechanics you might encounter, but these are just presets. You can make your own however you see fit, with transparency and opacity options and color options. They go with this for demonstration purposes and save it, and when you load it, you can then see the board. In this, you can click a role, for example, to change the style it appears as. Yoshi says in Japan, every DPS uses a DPS marker D1 to 4, but in EU and NA, players use different role icons depending on ranged or melee. This allows for those differences and switching them if you like, even when you receive a shared board from another region. You can also additionally highlight a specific position so you don't get lost through the fight where you should be going. This helps you during a fight so you can actually see where you're supposed to go, and should help you out in the long run, right? As you can see here, you can press on the object list and drag and drop items to the board as you wish, allowing you to change or customize any board you receive or create. They show this extends to AoE types, the ability to rotate them, resize them. You can also change transparency, snap to grid, many other things to help make a perfect strategy for a fight. There is also a layers option, so you can pile things up on top of each other and then easily click and select what you need to change from the layers, and even lock some of the layers in place to prevent accidental movement. There are quite a lot of other options, including text options and shapes to show movement or direction. The text option does allow you to freely type, which is incredibly useful. I was hoping that would be there for annotations. They showed some examples here of stuff they have made. Yoshi says, we looked at strats to test if we could put them into the strategy board, end quote. So they tried to ensure that the usual features that go into guides outside of a game are represented as well as they can be in the game for people to utilize, which is obviously very good research. You can also screen share your strategy boards with your team whilst editing them on the fly live, allowing you to discuss tactics with your party. The button to do this, once you open there, is a subcommand. Share real-time share allows for that sharing. On the other screen, with a party member in your party, they get a pop-up, and when they press it, it opens that page. As you can see with this picture-in-picture example they shared on the live letter, the left side is the editor, i.e. Yoshi P, and the right side is the party member. Only the editor may change things, not the party members, whilst showing. As you can see, Yoshi P is dragging the AoE line stack around, and the other person can actually see this. This helps explain things to people in the game visually, which normally, requires some people to use like Paint or something, or a whiteboard system on Discord. This allows people to do it all in the game, and levels the playing field, obviously, and controller players, right? It should be easier. Yoshi P says it might feel like slight lag, but since everything is going through the server, this is the best we can do, and I think it's pretty good. Honestly, it looks great. If it's like that in the game, I don't mind a little bit of latency. Now for more PowerPoint then. The strategy board can be shared individually or entire folders with your party. Up to 20 boards can be stored additionally temporarily from other players. Be sure to actually save any that you want to keep, they say. So yes, you can save permanently 50, but you also get 20 extra as temporary that get deleted after a amount of time, probably when you log off. You can share codes for boards via a subcommand and then post them online or wherever you want, and then someone can just plop that code into their board and save it. It's as simple as that. Yoshi says you can also keep those codes if your storage is filled, and you can re-enter the code later at another time and add it again. So that feature is really quite fleshed out. In some combination with the command panel, you can have certain things from strategies show up on your screen at all times. Some players have post-it notes, he says, stuck on their screens. It won't get rid of all of them, but maybe this will make it easier, end quote. And I agree. And that's pretty much it for the live letter for part 2 of patch 7.4 preview on live letter 90. On screen then are some announcements. This features the Berlin Fan Festival for EU FanFest 2026, with details about the pre-purchase ticket applications for EU, which start on Friday, February the 6th, 2026. If you're wanting a date for when to actually be around to try and get ticket applications, there is a page and a QR code link on screen if you want to go to FanFest EU, scan that code. Fantasian is actually getting a crossover collaboration set of items for the 3 main characters. Will be available on December the 16th when 7.4 goes live via the online store. These are sets that will be available, or 3 sets. They also come with their own emotes, apparently, that are also available, and 3 new hairstyles. So looking at those now, there is certainly something from those I would like to keep, and I can't wait to see what they look like actually in the game. But that is a collaboration with the Fantasian game. If you haven't played that, definitely go play it. It's quite fun. Next, we have a tabletop RPG update getting the advanced rulebook for the Stormblood expansion. This is available in August next year for the US and September in the EU next year. There is also a Japan exclusive merchandise store, a permanent one opening in Akihabara. This is on December the 19th with some special commemorative items, and this is a permanent store in in Japan. So very cool stuff. Link on the screen. The Prime Maniacs fragrance collection gets new fragrances for Vinar, Emitselk, and Hyflodeus. These are fragrances that you can apply to your body if you want to smell like those characters, in addition to many others that they've done on the Scions. They're accepting orders on pre-orders up until December the 21st. Links on the screen. The Panasonic Neck Speaker makes its return with a new version for pre-order, improved apparently. This is scheduled for release on the 12th 12th of December, which is a Friday. This is a Japan-only option, apparently, but of course there's, other places you could get this from on the internet. But they've released them before worldwide in a different style. I personally have one that I've used a few times. It's not bad, actually, if you want something that isn't headphones. Quite good surround sound. And the collector's edition upgrade sale digitally continues until December the 7th, so if you want to get any of those items from the collector's editions, you can do so cheaper for a limited time. The official patch note reading for 7.4 with Foxconn and Yoshi P is scheduled for the 16th of December in Japanese audio only, which is the same day of release in the morning, so bear that in mind. They're also recruiting game testers for Ultimate content as a temporary employee in Japan. If you have what it takes, then there's a link on the screen. Hopefully you get a cool job. And that's it for Live Letter Part 90 fully. What are your thoughts? I'm personally excited about the minor quality of life changes, especially to the deep dungeon with the DCs, not getting that wiped just because of a DDoS or something. Very helpful. Amongst other things, the Glamour update. And I think this live letter further explained a few finer details that help clarify a few things, but there are certainly some things that leave me wanting, definitely. I'm pretty excited for 7.4 personally, and let's hope the direction of the storyline takes a good turn, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about whatever's going on in that trailer. Much love, and I'll see you all next time.